Spider-Man for the PS4 is due out next month, September, and I'm going to be more excited for it.
It's a very pretty game.
It's very pretty. It looks like this is probably going to be the best Spider-Man game ever made by a long shot. And a lot of people are comparing it to Spider-Man 2 for PS2, GameCube, and Xbox, just because it really looks like it's going to do a great job of making you feel like Spider-Man, which is what any superhero game should aim to do.
That's what you want, from a Spider-Man game.
Right. So, this week, a lot of game journalists released their take on... a lot of them were given a preview version of the game to take a look at. Basically, like a demo version. I wish we had a demo for this that we could just download and take a look at. But I was looking at these different ones, and the only website that seemed to have a gripe about anything in the game was GameSpot. Now, what GameSpot said in their article, it kind of it was strange. So they came out saying that the way that you travel around and the way that you kind of unlock the map details is basically borrowing the idea from Assassin's Creed. In Assassin's Creed, you find a high point or a tower or something so that you can fill in your map and like see missions and points of interest, right, and get them added to your map. And they said that's basically what happens in this game.
And that's a problem?
Yeah, they're saying it's a problem. They say, this is strange not only because the mechanic feels incredibly outdated. Ubisoft has moved on. Their open world franchises now focus on more organic discovery mechanics, which probably just means that the map just fills out as you travel, as you move around the world.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't make characteristic sense. Insomniac has been pitching their version of Spider-Man as an experienced one that's been fighting crime in New York for nearly a decade. And it's incredibly puzzling that this Spider-Man hasn't internalized an intimate geographic knowledge of the city he protects. I don't believe him when he exclaims, "I'm flying blind here," while swinging through world-famous Times Square, no matter what the tower MacGuffin might be. So, there's a lot of information left out here. So, on the surface, yes, I agree that if this is a version of Peter Parker who's been Spider-Man for 10 years now, that he should know his way around New York. But that doesn't mean that there are things that, like, let's say, like, what I want to know is, so if you go to the top of a tower and you hit a button to add stuff to your in-game map, will it unveil crimes that are happening? Because that would make sense that he'd have to go and perch somewhere to look and see what's happening in the city and see if there's a crime taking place. Like, but they don't say that in the article. So exactly what is it that you expect him to be more familiar with? It's not going to pop up coffee shops,
right?
So what's the problem?
Maybe it's like it like shows like your path to like a mission, and they're like saying he should already know how to get to like places. But
that mission doesn't exist until he needs it to exist.
Yeah, that's
even in that circumstances. And the other complaints though, just generally the whole, oh well, this is an outdated mechanic. Well, you could argue that jumping is an outdated mechanic, but it's been in almost every video game
except
ever.
For Zelda.
Yeah, and that's actually a new mechanic.
Yeah, for Zelda.
Jumping is new, with the exception of a few of the older Zelda games where you had to get an item to let you jump. But yeah, jumping on command without having anything equipped is a totally novel idea for Zelda. So
yeah.
I'm glad you brought up Zelda, specifically Breath of the Wild, because guess what's in that game too, and I didn't see a problem climbing towers to fill in your map.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that outdated of an idea. And yes, it might be repetitive, and there might be way too many of them in Assassin's Creed. I can get behind that idea. And you definitely don't want to do that with Spider-Man. Like, I would like it if they would do what Zelda did, make the first tower very easy to climb up, but all the other ones, there's some mechanic about it that stops you from climbing up, and you have to figure out how to get around that obstacle. Like, make it interesting if I have to climb up a tower to get it. And there was only like maybe about a dozen or so in the game.
Or just make it really easy because it's Spider-Man and he should be able to just get to the top of the tower.
True, there's that. Yeah, just make it easy. And then at that point, there's nothing to it.
Yeah. Like,
what are you complaining about?
I mean, because it's Spider-Man, he should just be able to be like, and then like climb a little bit, and then he's there.
Yeah, and they did say that you're going to have all of your powers like available to you at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
You might upgrade them, but
unlock training mode.
oh yeah, the training wheels protocol.
Wait, what's the name? Karen. That's right, Karen.
Yeah.
I will set your web shooters from stun to kill, or whatever, and then it's like eyes.
Whoa, Karen.
That would be a dark game if they had that, where he just kills people.
Yeah. So, yeah, this article just kind of struck me as weird. It's an odd thing to complain about.
Yeah, right.
I just kind of feel like this is an example of, if you're a games journalist and you really don't want to give a game, like, if you're really finding something to complain about, you'll find it.
It's kind of, it seems like they're just being nitpicky because it's like, maybe it's one of those things where they're being like super nitpicky just because it's so good. Like, I don't know, they're just like, really like you know, scraping the bottom of the barrel for something to complain
right. They're
about.
looking for something to be wrong. Oh, they're using a mechanic that's been used for the last 10 years in gaming.
Oh no.
Terrible.